Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony and this is Black Mom Abroad. Welcome. If this is your first time, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Please make sure you subscribe so that you will know when I have another video out. Subscribe and hit the notifications so you'll know when I put out another video. But hey y'all, oh my god, it's been so long. I have not made a video in so long and I'm so embarrassed to say. It's been literally about 2 weeks, probably even more. But I have been busy. You may or may not be able to tell by the tree. I am in the United States. The last video I did talks about, I have a lot to talk about y'all today, so just bear with me. It's going to be a long video. Hang in there, okay? Hang in there. Okay, so the last time I did a video, I was talking about Merida heat. Okay, so what happened with the heat? The heat's still heating, but I was just like, I gotta go. But no, let me tell you the entire story. So I did a video talking about the heat, talking about the power outages. So for me, being a single mom of 2 young kids, having consistent power outages for days at a time, not days at a time, consistently, like it would go off from like 10 p.m. and wouldn't come back on to like 5, pretty much every single day. And what that was doing was causing me to have to like throw out my food and then go back and rebuy, and then as soon as I go rebuy, then I have to throw out my food again. And then with the power outages, you also didn't have access to like running water. So like there weren't like showers, we couldn't flush the toilet, things like that. It became a little much for me in the moment. And so I decided, I think it might be time to take a trip back to the United States to kind of like wait out this for a little bit, just for a little bit. I needed a break, to be honest. And I've learned so much, y'all. I have learned so much about myself and about my process and about my journey, and I'm going to share it with you. I was supposed to come to the United States anyway because I was dropping my daughters off to be with their dad for the summer. However, that wasn't supposed to happen until like June 14th. So my girls just went with their dad last week, although I've been here since May 29th. So I've been here for a while now. And I want to talk about what it feels like to come back when you've been gone for so long. What it feels like to come back, how I felt, what I need to talk to y'all about. So many things. It's important. Okay, so let's start. Let's just get right into it. Coming back was eye-opening. It was eye-opening. It was eye-opening in so many different ways. Neither was, I won't say that it was negative or positive. I just think that it was necessary. It was necessary for me to come back. I tell you, sometimes you don't know why things are happening, or sometimes you don't know why things are happening until you actually go through it. So for instance, I came back, and first of all, while I was in Merida, I felt like I was like, oh, I cannot handle this. This is too much heat. I'm living in the oven. My AC is always going out because of the power is going out. I gotta buy food every other day because my food is being spoiled. I gotta do this and I gotta do that and gotta do that. And so sometimes, and I know that there are going to be people in the comments saying, you know, yeah, I told you this, or I knew that, or whatever the case may be. But let me just remind y'all that this is a journey that I'm taking, and that I'm just expressing my experiences throughout the journey, good, bad, or indifferent. I am learning so much about myself, who I am as a person, and I would not change that for the world. I don't always make the right steps. I don't always make the right decisions, but what will happen is that I will learn from those, right? Experience is the best teacher. And so leaving Merida, feeling in the way that I was, because I left Merida to come back to the United States. And I ain't gonna lie, I was irritated. I was frustrated, I was aggravated, because how could you not be when you are paying rent, you're paying for food, you're paying for electricity, you're paying for all of these services that you're not getting any use out of. So when I left, I was pretty aggravated. To say the least. So coming back to the United States with that particular, I don't want to say attitude, but mindset, I will definitely tell you I was humbled. So immediately when I came back, right, I didn't think that I was going to feel like, oh, I'm back. Oh, I feel this way, I feel that way. But that's exactly what happened. As soon as I came back, honey, not even all the way back into the state of my residence, to the state of Maryland. When I landed in the United States, in Miami, Florida, from my layover, I immediately felt angst. Like immediately. I could tell the difference just in the speed of them walking. Like I felt like I was like in a race, or it's like the road runner. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. But when I landed in Miami, there were people like running me over. Like I'm a single mom with 2 small children, so I'm trying to juggle luggage with 2 small children, and I realized that United States, like, people don't have patience. They're very, very quick to just go. They're in a hurry. They're at a high alert. As soon as I got back, I felt just anxiety. I felt the energy of anxiety as soon as I touched down. And so that was just like an eye-opener, because I felt like I'll get to feel what it feels like to live in the United States again, maybe day 1, 2, 3. But I did not think that as soon as I touched down that I would get that feeling. But I absolutely got that feeling. It was crazy, y'all, like crazy. I was like, like instantly. Okay. I got notes because it's a lot. I was afraid, like as soon as, like, so basically this video is about like what my feelings were, what my emotions were coming back. Immediately I was afraid. I no longer felt like I could kind of just let my guard down and just live. Like now I was like hyper vigilant over like where my kids were, like making sure, no, don't do that, like I was policing my children way more than I ever liked to. I was immediately touching down in Florida, I was immediately afraid of getting into any type of interaction. It didn't even have to be a heated interaction, but any type of interaction with any type of law enforcement anywhere. I was so afraid of that. I was afraid of what could happen with like hate crimes, or just like, yeah, crimes directed to Black people. And maybe I was a little just, I don't want to say over exaggerating, but maybe I was just too, I don't know what the word is. I really don't. I don't know what the word is, but I know that I felt immediately, I felt unsafe. I felt afraid. I felt like something was going to happen to me as soon as I touched down. That's wild. Like, that is so wild. Yeah. So what's the next thing? Oh, paranoid. Like, I started feeling paranoid right away. Like, I started having all these feelings like, oh shucks, what if this happens? What if that happens? Da, 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 da. I just did not feel at peace. I did not feel like I could just be myself. I did not feel like I could just live, and that nobody would bother me, and that nobody would be mean or nasty. I started really, really being like closed in to myself, and really, really, really hyper vigilant of like my surroundings, what people were doing, what people were saying, how far people was to me, my interactions. I was very, very focused on not ruffling any feathers. Like, I was afraid. I was afraid. And I don't know if that's like, I know what it's from. It's trauma. It's PTSD, post-traumatic stress. Y'all don't, okay, maybe y'all don't know. I am a nurse, and I will diagnose the hell out of something all the time, every day. Like, my friends they make fun of me because I can look at somebody and tell you what disease that they have. So I'm always diagnosing stuff. But no, it's from the stress and the trauma that I've already, I can't think of the word, because y'all know I lose words real quick. But it's the stress and the trauma that I've already experienced coming back. It was so triggering coming back to that place. It's really, really hard to heal when you're sitting in the place of your abuser. And the United States is my abuser. So yeah, I just did not feel comfortable anymore. Right, and I became very paranoid, having all types of thoughts, and to the point where I had to really kind of like get myself together. Like, girl, okay, stop thinking about this stuff before it actually happens. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's where my mind went. That's I just was right there, honestly. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I partake in marijuana, right? Well, I used to. Okay. So when I was in Maryland, when I lived in Maryland, I partooketh. Okay, I partooketh in marijuana, more than I would actually like, because I feel like I was. No, it's not. I feel like I absolutely was trying to deal and cope with like just being in the United States, right? But the thing is that marijuana has never worked for me. It doesn't work, right? I keep trying different strains, edibles, this. It just does not work for me. It just causes my anxiety to just go off the handle. And I feel like the reason why it does that to me is because I overthink already. Like, I'm an overthinker. I struggle with trusting myself, right? Trusting my own decisions. So I'm constantly overthinking all of my decisions. Add marijuana to that, and it's a recipe for disaster, right? So when I left the United States, I said to myself, like, I'm gonna cut marijuana out. It doesn't actually work for me. It makes me even more anxious. I'm not even sure why I keep doing it while I'm in the United States, right? I made a vow to myself that I was going to cut it out because it just did not work for me. It actually made me 10 times worse. It made me think about everything and be paranoid about everything. So when I was in Mexico, I did not at all. Number one, it's illegal, and number two, but that ain't never stopped nobody, honey. And you definitely have access to it, right? But I didn't need. I felt like I did not need it. Like, I felt like I was able to regulate my emotions, my ups, my downs, without it, right? I could do it here too, but here I just always felt like overwhelmed, and I felt like I needed something to kind of like calm me down. Even though marijuana never worked, I absolutely tried. Okay, y'all, cause see, I can blow, I can go out, I can go on a tangent. When I got back, I started smoking again, and I'm like, why? It doesn't work for you. It was just like got right back into like old habits. So Smoking marijuana was one of my old habits that I was like, I don't want to do this. It's not good for me. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. But as soon as I got back, I would say within a week, I was smoking marijuana again. Feeling anxious, feeling like I'm overthinking again. And I'm just not sure why I did that. It's just like as soon as I got back, I got right back into like my old habits that I have been trying to kick. Now, I know somebody is going to be like, well, moving to another country is not going to change you. You got to start the change there. Let me tell y'all something. I do not like people who I won't say people. I do not like when people try to put restrictions on your experience or your life, or you shouldn't go to Mexico until you heal. You should try to heal yourself now. First of all, stop. Okay, stop. Healing does not happen overnight. Healing is a process, a long process at that. And it grows with you over time. It is something that you do throughout your lifestyle. And some people don't heal or grow unless they take themselves out of the environment that they are in, unless they take themselves out of being in this comfort zone, right? People don't heal, people don't grow unless they are pushed out of their comfort zone. So for me, I knew that in order for me to really see the change that I wanted to see, to really see the growth, to really see the evolution of Tony, that I needed to take myself out of my environment, and that's exactly what I did. But bringing myself back to the environment, I picked up all my old habits again. Another old habit that I picked up, because everything is just so fast. Like, you don't have time to eat. You don't have time to cook. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to sit down and eat a book and read a book. It's just no time in the United States. It has a way of making you feel like you always have to rush. Like, you always have to rush. I started texting and driving again, like texting and driving, being distracted when I drive, which I vowed to myself that I would not do. And as soon as I got back, I started doing it, and it just became a problem because it's dangerous, and it's something that I said I would not do. So y'all may think that those things are small, but for me, those things are large. What else? I talked about how, oh child, let me just tell y'all, okay? So on my book, my pad, my notepad, I have triggered, right? It says triggered. That was one of the subtitles that I said that I wanted to talk about. What triggered me? Girl, oh my God, we're gonna get into family, okay? We're gonna get into family in a minute. But that's gonna be a doozy, that's gonna be a long one, and so I'm gonna wait. But I was triggered. I was triggered by so many different things. Like, I was triggered by driving by my old employer. Like, the feeling I got by just seeing my job was telling. This whole trip to the United States has been very, very telling for me, because sometimes when you're sitting in the mess, right, you realize you need a change, but you don't realize that your change is vital to your life and your well-being and your mental health. And leaving and then coming back and feeling the physical effects of how it feels to be back in a place where everything triggers you, you then notice like, oh, wow, deep in survival mode. Let me just pivot for just 1 second and then I'll get back. I really don't hear too many women, too many people talking about the steps to take to rid yourself of being in survival mode, or to get out of survival mode, what that takes, the challenges that that comes with it. But when I lived in Mexico, 100% in a survival mode. And I know I'm not not in Mexico. When I lived in the United States, 100% in survival mode, 100%. I never made decisions for the future. I always made decisions for the next day, because I couldn't see the future. When your basic needs are not met, there is no way you can plan for the future. You cannot plan for the future when your basic needs are not met. And so coming back, I was like, this is what I was feeling, but I was so deep into survivor mode. I was so, oblivious. You know how you can go about life like just so oblivious, right? Not having the capacity to even see, feel, hear what's actually going on with your body, not having the time to feel, to listen to your body. That's being in survival mode. I never knew. I knew that there was a physical component, but I didn't know until I left this environment and then came back, right? Like, your girl, I'm still in survival mode. Like, that's not something that you shed right away. But honestly, when I came back and felt what it feels like to come back, I literally cried for myself. I cried for myself, and I wanted to give myself a big hug and be like, you did not know. You're doing the best that you can do with the information and the knowledge that you had at that time. But yeah, so what I'll say is this. When I got back, guys, not only did I feel triggered, not only was my nervous system a freaking wreck, it still is. I was not here. I lie to you not. I was not here for a week before. I'm not lying. Oh my God, I had the worst neck pain. And the neck pain started like right here, because for me, all my tension sits in my shoulders. It's a literal definition or representation of the barriers and the burdens that I carry right here on my chest, on my shoulders. I literally started having excruciating muscle pain and spasm that started right here, and that will go all the way across the first side of my face. Y'all, I thought I was having a goddamn stroke. Okay. I'm 41. I'll be 42 in September. I shouldn't be feeling like that. When I tell you that it was mind-blowing and eye-opening to actually be able to feel and pay attention to and acknowledge that my stress, my mental anxiety and my mental stress affected me in a physical way, so much that it literally almost debilitated me. Like, I don't take medicine because I don't put chemicals in my body unless it's marijuana. No, I'm just okay. Unless I absolutely need to. But as a nurse, I understand the pharmaceutical companies, okay? And spoiler alert, they are not here to help you. They are here to put a band-aid on you and to collect the money from you as long as they possibly can. If pharmaceutical companies can, I'm going off on a tangent again, but I'll make a U-turn. If pharmaceutical companies can make medications that help with pain and stop this and stop that, then they also can find ways to help prevent that thing, okay? All right? They don't want to. But I was very I'm not going to say shocked because I wasn't shocked. It was just really eye-opening to actually feel the amount of stress and anxiety and how that felt physically. And it made me realize how long I had been ignoring the signs and the symptoms. Like, I've had body aches, I've had pain before, I have had like muscle aches, but I never attributed to stress, anxiety, worry. I've never attributed to that. But when I came back and my anxiety went up just like that, and my stress level went up just like that, and I was triggered and I got that pain, I was like, wow. So let me tell y'all what really sparked my anxiety and this physical pain that was a representation of what my nervous system was going through. For whatever reason, I have a hard time regulating my nervous system while I'm in the United States. It's just so much. You got social media telling you what you need to do, how you need to do it. These are 15,000 people who are showing you 10-second snippets of their lives, and now you are comparing yourself. Well, why don't I have 10,000 followers? Well, why don't I have this business? Well, I need to do that, and I need to do this, and it's like so convoluted with everything that you should be doing. It's no wonder why you feel when I come back, I feel like I'm being pulled by 15 different people, like, right? Number two, it's so expensive to live here. And don't say it. Don't say I'ma say it, right? I know I complained about the Uber prices in Mexico. Guess what? You ain't gonna hear me complain. You are not gonna hear me complain. That's really the reason why this trip was very profound, is because I needed it every which way. I needed it. I needed to remember what it felt like being here, what it looked like, what it tastes like, everything, how much it cost. I needed to feel that in order to have more appreciation. And so I am very much more appreciative of the culture of the Mexican people. Yes, I'll probably go talk about that more later. I want to get to why when I got here within a week my body started showing physical representation of just how unhealthy this place is for me. Now I can only speak for myself. There are millions and millions of people who are here and they are thriving. I am just not that person. I'm not that person. I'm not thriving here, right? So when I came back home, of course I have a home here, but I'm renting it out. I have a tenant. So it's not like I'm going back home to my home because I have a tenant. So I stay with my mom. Y'all, and I'm not, listen, this is my story, this is my experience. It's not no shading nobody, I'm not bad talking anybody, but this is my life, this is my family, this is the things that I have to deal with. My mom has a home that she shares with my sister. My sister lives with her. That's more accurate. My sister lives with my mother. My sister is a year older than me, so actually she just turned 43 in June 14th. So just a couple of days ago. She lives with her mom. She lives with my mom. She has a teenage daughter that lives with my mom as well, and she has a adult son who has his own place, but for whatever reason stays with my mom full time, and he is 26. So her daughter she has a teenage daughter that is, Tamaya will be 17 in August, and her son is 26. Her son has 2 children. So my 43-year-old sister is a grandmother. I'm probably telling y'all too much information. But I like to be transparent, honey, because So, but I'm just telling you this so that you know how many people was in the house, right? Oh my God. So my nephew, who's my sister's son, has 2 children, and they are, I think, 10 and 7, right? So it's now comes me and my 2 girls. So it's my mom, my sister, her son, his 2 kids, her daughter, me, my 2 kids. It's like 9 people in the house, right? And it wasn't that, first of all, that's a lot of people to be in the house. That wasn't meant for 9 people. Let's just start there. But y'all, I love my family. We all love our family, but we also know that our family can be really, really dysfunctional. And my family is dysfunctional, right? Like, they're dysfunctional, right? And I don't know how much more I want to get into how they are dysfunctional, but they are dysfunctional. I will say this, like, my sister has a codependent relationship with my mother. I do too, but I recognize it, and I do not enjoy that type of relationship with anybody, to be honest. So some of the ways that I've tried to break that, there are a lot of ways that I've tried to break that, and I'm aware of it, and I'm still on the journey of trying to switch the relationship with my mother. But sometimes especially with moms, when you try to create a more healthy environment by setting boundaries and by doing things differently, you get a lot of kickback. And not because they don't love you or they don't care about you, it's because they're not used to a different relationship. They're not used to a different you. They're used to the same codependent, toxic you that showed up years ago. And I'm a different person. But I'm not going to go into why it was dysfunctional, but it is so dysfunctional that I literally felt like I was going insane in my mom's house. I stayed at my mom's house for about 2.5 weeks before I moved on to my sister's house where I am now. And I'll stay here until, I have 4 sisters. I'll stay here until I leave. I leave next week, Wednesday next week. But coming back and dealing with dysfunctional family dynamics was so triggering that it showed up as a physical representation. I'm still in pain, guys. I've been taking 800 ibuprofens. I've been taking muscle relaxers. I've been taking icy hot patches. Anything, you name it, I've been taking it to try to release some of this like tension that I have. And none of it really has worked. I've done yoga. None of it has worked because I am sitting in the dysfunction. Especially being in my mom's house now. I have since moved from my mom's house. I still feel the pain, and there is still some anxiety surrounded by family dysfunction because I'm still in my sister's house, but it's nowhere near the same because my sister is she's not here most of the time, and that dysfunction is not. We have issues, but I wouldn't say it's dysfunctional with my sister and I. So that was eye-opening for me. Like, I knew that my family had, codependency, toxic relationships, dysfunction, but I did not know that as soon as I sat in it, I was going to feel the way I felt. Y'all, it was moments where, like, I just felt like crying. I just felt like leaving, going back. I know this trip truly answered a lot of questions for me. One of the questions that it completely answered was Mexico the right choice? And abso-freaking-lutely it was. Okay? I'm not ready. Like, I have so much healing, I have so much more evolution, I have so much more growing, learning to do. I have discovered where I am the problem, right? You know, I'm not the problem every single time, but I have discovered where things that need to change are things that are within me. When I tell you this trip was very much needed and appreciated, even though it hasn't been all smiles and rainbows, it has answered the questions that I needed it to answer. Honey, another thing that I will say with family dynamics. My mom and my sister, they've been living together for a while, and I would say that my mother is resentful of my sister because she's still taking care of her in a large way, right? And so my mother makes my sister feel it, right? She lashes out her resent is lashing out by, you know, I don't know, she just picks at her, right? My sister gets tired of being picked at and then lashes back. You know what I'm saying? My mom's attitude toward my sister, for whatever reason, gets worse when I'm around. Like, she takes things out on her even more so, like to the 10th degree. I know y'all probably like, girl, you need a therapist, not a YouTube channel. I got that too. But, so seeing how my mom treated my sister when I was around was heartbreaking. And not only did it cause my sister to get upset at my mom, but then she turned that frustration and anger onto me because my mere presence was changing the dynamic of their dysfunction. I don't know what other way to put it. It was changing the dynamics of the dysfunction. And so now my sister is getting it twofold. It's just, it was just a lot, y'all. It was a lot. It was a lot. Oh my gosh. I can't even put it into words. Okay? Okay, so for all my people that's watching, I say this with love. Don't let your family hold you back from doing what you feel like you need to do with you, because they will. And it may not even be malicious, intentional. It may not be any of that. It may be them just feeling like they love you and they don't want you to go. Go anyway. Go anyway. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Energy, right? That also triggered me, like, right away. The energy of people, like, in the United States. I don't know if people have a negative energy. I don't want to say negative because I think some of them do just have bad energy, right? But I think that majority of people energy feels negative because they're tired, exhausted, broke, overwhelmed, underpaid, stressed out, you name it. And so, of course, their energy is going to come off all crazy because they are just exhausted. They are to their breaking point. And so you come across more people in the United States that are like at that breaking point. And you have to absorb that energy that they are giving off. And still be kind and understanding. It is not easy, and it definitely took a toll on me. But I immediately felt the energy of people, and it felt heavy. It felt heavy. And that's the difference. Like, it's so crazy because in the United States, people work hard, right? In Merida, in Mexico, people work hard. But the difference between them is that people in Mexico also live. Like, they live their lives. People in the United States, and please, just because I say people does not mean I'm saying all people, right? If the shoe fits, wear it. If it don't, pick another shoe. That ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really playing. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, so people in the United States, they don't live, they just seem, I don't really know how to put it, but it don't feel like they're living. It just feels like they are surviving. That's what it is. That's what it is. They're not living, they're surviving. And when you are just surviving and you're in survival mode, what comes with that is also a triggered nervous system, right? It's also an energy, right? You can't, you are self-absorbed, you're self-centered because you are trying to survive. And that comes with a certain type of energy that I know I just cannot. I just cannot. I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, what's next? Because, honey, I already talked about how I generally just felt like unsafe here. Like, I felt just unsafe. Like, so while I was in Mexico, my children, like, they are very friendly. Some of y'all probably have come across my kids, and they hugged you without asking, or they are definitely saying hi or blowing you kisses. My girls are just like that. They are just so loving. I was so like skeptical, like, no, don't do that, don't do this, da 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 da. Like, I genuinely just felt unsafe. You know, I feel like I was less trustworthy here than I was in Mexico. Now, I do feel like I need to keep a level of not necessarily not being. I feel like I need to keep a level of, I don't know what to call it. Like, I don't want to be too trustful in Mexico, but here it was just a no-go for me. It was a no-go. What else? Yeah. 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 So I'm just reading my notes, and I was just saying, like, I was just really uncomfortable with the girls, like, talking to people here or interacting with people here, because the United States are really not kind to people, to anybody that slows them down, whether it's children, elderly, or the disabled. They don't like, no. Children here are not looked at as human beings. They're looked at as children. Like, it's just different. I can't really explain it. It's just different. And I felt every bit of that. The people here they're just not as friendly. They're not as talkative. They don't interact as much. And a lot of that is because they are so consumed with trying to live, trying to keep up. In this fast-paced world, pressure, right? I felt immediate pressure. I don't even know where it was coming from, y'all, but I felt immediate pressure to just be successful today. Like, it just came right back, like, well, why you not doing this? Why don't you have that? You should be here. It was just immediate pressure to get myself together. I'm talking loud because somebody is mowing the lawn. So just in case y'all can't hear me, I'm going to, speak up. But I felt immediate pressure to just be better. You know what I'm saying? Like I started feeling like unworthy, or I should be doing this, or I should be doing that. It came immediately. It came immediately. And I was just like, wow. Because America they're pushing this narrative that you got to have a master's, or you have to have a doctorate, or you have to be a lawyer, or you have to be this, or you have to be that. You have to have this amount of money in the bank, and you have to have that, and da-da-da-da-da. And if you listen to everybody, and you got to exercise, and you got to eat good, and you got to do that. If you listen to everybody and what they tell you that you have to do, you be pulling your hair out. You be pulling your hair out. And so I immediately felt the pressure of, you need to do this. You got to do this. Don't do that. This is not good enough. That's not good enough. Change this. It's just too much. It's too much. Y'all, the food. Honey, the food. I immediately tasted the effect, felt the effect of the food here. Immediately. I was in the airport, Miami airport, and I ate some Cheez-Its. And, honey, I'm going to apologize now for the person who went into the bathroom after me. Okay? Because when I tell you that thing went right through me, I was embarrassed. Because somebody came right in after me, and I couldn't say nothing. I heard them wash my hands and got the heck up out of there, right? Because I didn't want to do the walk of shame when she saw me, face to face. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was bad. The food here tastes different. The food here is not as flavorful. Y'all, I don't need to tell y'all this. I really don't need to tell y'all this. But what I will say is that I get physical signs of when my body is not doing so well. When I was in Merida, although I don't like the food in Merida, right? I've made that abundantly clear. I'm not a fan of the food in Merida. I will say that even the food that wasn't good, it didn't taste good, and it may not even been really healthy food, I never got a physical response from it, except the first, I think, 2-3 weeks. And I just think that that's my body was trying to it actually was longer, maybe the first 2-3 months. But I think that my body was trying to, get used to their cuisine. But after that, I didn't have any issues with my stomach or my body or any physical things trying to tell me that the food wasn't agreeing with me. When I got here, honey, my fingers swole up, inflammation is what I'm saying. I had inflammation in my fingers, inflammation in my knees, everything was swelling up just from eating this food. So y'all know I am petrified for my poor babies, okay? Because anyway, I ain't gonna put that out there, but I'm petrified for my babies because their father is probably not gonna cook them the stuff that I want them to eat. But release control, okay? Alrighty, but yeah, so I was surprised by how I felt right after eating the food. Again, I said to myself, I was in a state of such survival mode that I never even listened to my body telling me that you're hurting me, you're harming me. When I came back and I felt it, I was like, wow, I've been eating this junk, and I've been dealing with this world, this state of anxiety and survival mode for so long that I've become numb to what this feels like. And if I didn't become numb, I certainly smoked marijuana in order to become numb, in order to deal with it. But coming back, feeling how I felt, seeing what I saw, it answered a lot of questions. All right, so let me see what else. Okay, so now that I told y'all some of the things that I felt coming back to the United States. First of all, it's nothing changed, right? It's nothing changed. The things that I was like, oh, it's my creature comforts, I miss, I want to do, when I did it, it was like, nah, I don't need it, right? Even, y'all, don't kill me, even the weather, I'm like, and it's been beautiful in Baltimore, Maryland, for really the whole month, almost 2 months that I've been here. But the air is a little drier. Child, my skin been so dry, honey. My skin been so dry. I was like, oh, okay. So the heat and the humidity does my body good, right? So it's just a lot of things that I'm learning about myself, about my body, about how I want to live that I would not have known had I not came back. And so that brings up appreciation. After living in Mexico for almost 6 months, there are many, many things that I appreciate about Mexico. Safety. I just felt safe. I cannot explain it. I did not feel like somebody was going to intentionally harm my children. I did not feel like somebody was going to intentionally harm me. I did not feel like I was going to be the victim of hate crime. I did not feel like any of that. I did not feel like I was going to be killed by a police officer. I didn't feel any of that. And so now I can appreciate that feeling way more, because coming back, you feel it in it. You feel it right away. Oh my gosh, hospitality of Mexican people, like I don't want to say people in the United States are mean, because I think that they are just not aware of how they come across, and they're in a mindset and the rat race, right? But the hospitality, the difference in the hospitality in Mexico versus the United States is like vast difference. It's a vast difference. Like, just people are not kind. Like, they just have not been kind here. I mean, just the simplest things, it just have not been kind here. Like, nobody's gonna help you out in the grocery store or help you find your way if you're lost. Like, nobody's doing that. Nobody's gonna help me pick up something if I dropped it. I don't care if they see I'm struggling. Like, that just happened to me not too long ago. I was struggling, and I dropped something. It's 18 people around and nobody. Like, of course they don't have to, right? But that's just the difference. Like, that's the difference in the hospitality in the United States versus Mexico. Of course, it's not everywhere. Of course, it's not everybody, but it's way more prevalent in the United States. I appreciate the culture. I appreciate that Mexicans or the Mexican culture refuse to just survive. They're going to live. They're going to live, honey, and they're going to enjoy their life. No matter, and the Mexican culture works so hard at what they do, and they appreciate their work, and you can see it by the effort that they put in. This is honey, the United States. This is a society that the people who work in hospitality, what they act like you begging them to for their money. Like, they act like you are begging them for it. I don't even have the words. I don't have the words. But it was a vast difference, right? It was a vast difference. Like, they treat you like they don't care that you're spending your money. And I'm sorry, but after living in Mexico for 6 months, there's no way I'm coming to the United States, where the food quality is horrible, the hospitality is horrible, customer service horrible, and you want me to come back here and give you 25% tip? So you want me to pay 25% in addition to how much it actually costs for the actual products? In addition to, you had an attitude, you made me wait, it's not as clean in here as I would like. Like, no, absolutely not. Okay. I miss that the just the sheer appreciation that Mexican people have when they do get a tip. Right here, it's like, you only gave me a 15% tip, or you only gave me a 20% tip. It's like, what? Now you can do a self-serve food, go get your food, and they still asking you to tip 20%. It's ridiculous. Sorry, y'all. I be looking at myself, but I really need to be looking at the camera. So on my videos, my mother was like, you don't be looking at the camera. And I'd be like, yeah, I know. It's okay. So I had to remind myself, don't look at yourself, look at the camera. But yes, okay. Child, when I already talked about going back to my old habits. I go around, I move around. Like, I be remembering things, I be forgetting things. So I'll talk about it when it comes up. My money habits. Girl, I got into the same bad fucking habits. Ooh, I didn't mean to cuss like that. That was probably bad. I'm gonna have to edit that out. But I got into the same bad habits. Buying stuff I didn't need, eating out when I shouldn't, not budgeting, just getting right back into the same horrible routine. And I'm like, why? Why, when you was in Mexico, you budgeted everything? Why are you coming back and you feel like you don't have to budget at all? And it was just weird. It was weird. And I honestly don't even know, like, why. But yeah. Okay, so what else? Because this video is getting a little long. I already talked about eating certain foods, going back to bad habits like eating certain foods. Girl, I hardly drink any water. Honey, when I was in Mexico, I probably drank like a gallon of water a day. Honey, now look, this water is full. It's full. And this should have been drank 5 different times. I don't know why I'm not drinking water here. I don't know why. But I haven't been drinking a lot of water. Even though I love water, I haven't been drinking a lot of water. It's weird. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I just think it's just going back to the same horrible habits. And when you're here, you're pulled by so many different things that you literally don't have the time or the capacity to just think about yourself. And that's the trick. That's the rat race, y'all. I already talked about the cost of living. I felt that right away, okay? When I took a Uber home from the airport to my mother's house. Y'all want to know how much I paid? Because I remember a video that I was complaining about my Uber. And I know y'all commented on it. Let a sister live. Okay, let me grow online in front of y'all. Let me grow. Okay, but I spent $75 for an Uber that took me approximately 20 minutes. I was blown away. I almost lost my eyesight. Okay, I was like, what in the world? What? Like 75 pesos? No, not 75 pesos. You want $75? Like, what? It hurt my soul. It hurt my feelings, and oh my gosh, I will never complain again. I won't. I told y'all this trip was well needed. Like, I needed to know what I came from. Like, I knew what I came from, but I needed to remember where I came from. To greater appreciate what I have now living in Mexico. When I tell y'all I want to go home, I want to go home. I've been wanting to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. I immediately felt capitalism. Like, I immediately felt capitalism. Immediately. Like, buy this house. Get this credit card. Girl, they got Klarna. They got Afterpay. They got Affirm. They got Uplift. They got all these things where you can purchase something when you ain't even got the money. And you look at them things and they like at 33% APR or 30% APR. Like, this world, the United States, constantly encourage you to be in debt so that they can, that's your anchor, to stay here. Okay? To stay here. As soon as I got back, I got all these U.S. promotions to buy a car. I'm not paying $900 a month for no car. Are you crazy? But I immediately felt the effects of capitalism. I immediately did, honey. Immediately. All right. I think, yes. Okay. I think that's it. The capitalism also reared its head in like just the food prices. Like, say, what now? You want $9 for some brown eggs? Say what? Who had huh? Okay. You $65 to fill up my car. Are you crazy? Maintenance. I had to put maintenance in my car because I'm also coming here because my son is 17. He'll be 18 next year. I am giving him my car. So I came down here to get myself, put maintenance, do maintenance, car maintenance, change the tires and all that. Girl, why is it a whole freaking baby and a fruit basket? Okay, why am I paying all that money for just... Don't get me. Don't. The last thing I'll say, because I know this video is all over the place, but the last thing I'll say is that, and I'm being very, transparent and vulnerable, is that when I left Merida, I was mad, I was upset, I was angry, I felt depleted. I honestly was feeling like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, and I know that eventually I will move from Merida. Like, Merida is not my forever home because it was never supposed to be. Something somebody said or that I heard really stuck with me. And they said we always try to move into our forever home. Like the first move has to be the forever move. And what I've learned from this trip is that you can always change your mind. You can always pivot. You can always switch things up. There's nothing keeping me from moving to Mexico, Thailand, coming back to the United States. And so I just really want to make this video to say, like, don't ever let anybody make you feel like you can't change your mind. And don't ever let anybody feel like you experiencing life and learning that there's something wrong with that, or that you should know, or that, girl, because y'all know, okay? Y'all know it gets on my nerves when people say, you didn't do any research. You should have researched it. What do I Google? Tell me what I put into Google so I can. Fact of the matter is, you can research all you want, okay? Sometimes things, you don't put things into perspective until you actually experience those things. So don't let anyone make you feel bad because maybe you didn't get as much information as you thought you should, or because things didn't go as planned, and you had to adjust, to pivot. There's nothing wrong with that. That builds character. There's nothing wrong with that, right? The people who are telling you to plan every detail out are the people who are sitting right now in their living room on their computer planning, and they have been in that spot for the last 5 years planning. And I'm not trying to say that it is anything wrong with planning. No, it is not. I wish I was more of a planner. However, it is the people that make you feel like that you can't take a move unless you have planned every detail of that move. That's a lie. That's a whole holy lie. Why are you lying holy? Why? No. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Okay? No. So, for me, I was dreading this trip because I was dreading coming back to the United States, but I was also dreading staying in Merida with the current conditions. When I tell y'all, I am so happy that I decided to come back. I was also not supposed to come back early. I was supposed to only be here for a couple of days to drop my girls off, a couple of days to spend with my boys and with my family, and then to leave. At max, a week and a half. If I had only stayed a week and a half, I would not have gotten the information that I needed. And the information that I needed is that you still have a lot of healing to do, a lot of growth, and you are not ready to come back in the States. You're not ready yet. Okay? I don't know that I will ever be ready. But I am so happy that, because sometimes you don't know why things happen the way that they happen until you figure it out later. And for me, I was like, I don't have no power. We don't have no water. I don't really want to go to the United States for a whole month, 2 months, waiting to drop my girls off. But I guess this is what we're doing. But I don't want to stay here because I don't have no power. I don't have no water. It's hot. So I decided to go early, and that made me stay here longer. Honey, I'm so glad that happened the exact way that it happened, because I've gotten so many answers. I've gotten so many answers that I needed. And now I am going back so much more well-equipped to absolutely get what I need to grow, to maneuver. Like, I have so much more information. And so don't let people tell you that you cannot move unless you plan, or No, experience is the best teacher, and trust yourself enough to know that if something comes up, you'll be able to pivot. You'll be able to handle it. Because really, this journey for me, my journey, is the journey of trusting myself. Because growing up, I lived in such a volatile environment, and I didn't trust any of my parents. I didn't trust any of my parents. I didn't trust my parents, and I didn't trust any adults, because adults have violated me in more ways than one. And so now it made me grow up not trusting myself, not trusting my decisions. And so my journey for me is learning how to trust myself and my decisions, and that I possess all the skills that is needed to be able to live a life that a life that of thriving. I said that wrong, but y'all know what I mean, right? A fruitful life, a life where I thrive, not just survive. And so I'm happy. At the end of the day, I'm happy. I'm happy to be going home. I leave in another week. That deserved a celebratory dance, okay? It deserved. I'm happy to go. I'm happy to be going home. Once I get home, I will be moving into another apartment, which I'm happy that I am doing that as well. I will take you guys on that journey. But I'm about to get out of here because I got to get ready to start working. Thank you for listening, guys. Comment. Let me know, what your struggles are, what you're going through. Comment amen if you hear me. If you hear me, comment amen. You know what I'm saying? If you feel me, comment amen. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a real thing. Culture shock. Reverse culture shock. It's a real thing. So I am just happy that I've had this experience. So now that I can go back even stronger, more knowledgeable, more experience. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. I will do another video soon, but yep, that's it. All right, y'all. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification, and share this video with anyone who you feel like could benefit from it, because I know I'm not the only one. I know that I'm not the only one. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.